Hello, fellow traders. 'Tis I, TheRumpledOne, coming to you on Wednesday, May the 10th. The year is 2023. Let's talk trading. Trading with Walmal. As always, these videos are for educational purposes only. Your results may differ from mine and different from Walmal's. Walmal, you're smack in the middle of a trade?
I am smack in the middle of a trade, thinking about getting out. I went short at 51.9. Reason why is I had a flip-flop box, state change, and I was coming close to the indicated tier. I was still above it when I took the trade, but it was okay. I'm now up like about 8 pips on the trade. And the other thing the reason why I haven't gotten out is because I've made core for the day, so I usually let those trades run a little bit longer. And we're in the top part of the big return bar from the news right now, so I'm going to let this thing run. I set my TP or my stop loss rather, to +4. So the worst thing's going to happen to me is I'm going to get +4 on this trade, and we'll see where it goes.
Okay, I'm sure somebody would like to know what you normally try to get, how many pips you normally want to get on a trade.
Normally, up before making core, 2 pips, 3 pips. That's usually what I try to get. And then, but once I make core, then what I do is I kind of change my scheme around a little bit where as soon as I get into profit, I start looking at just not losing too much money on it, meaning, lose maybe 2 or 3 pips, that's it. And once I get into a little bit more profit, then I'll move it to break even. And then like here I'm up, like now I'm up, what am I up? I'm up 9.6. So now my stop loss is at +4.
Yeah.
I'm not going to move it right now. I just moved it to +8. And I'm just dragging my my TP line down on MT4. And now we're about a quarter of the way into that big bar. I'm now up 16 pips.
Man, I'm kicking myself only because, and Walmart can tell you, I looked on H4 and I said I think it had to get down to, what was it, 2652, and I
Yep.
didn't stay in the trade. Got bounced out one time.
So I'm targeting 25. But if I get an up candle here, I'm out.
In other words, a state change.
Yep, exactly.
Now, just so you know, 37.6 and 44.1 are the first 2 fib retraces. You got 10% at 37.6 and the 23s at 44.1.
So I'll just sit here and wait and see what it does.
It looks like
And
you're going to
I'm
get
out.
yeah.
I'm out because I don't like the way this candle's behaving, but I got 15 pips on it. So 14.9 minus my commission, which was 0.3. So
Now, that was a nice trade.
that was a very
Textbook.
nice trade.
Textbook, right?
Yeah, exactly. It doesn't happen very often, but when part of the reason why I started getting a little bit worried about the trade is if you look at at that big up candle on the news, it's 32 pips, and we were when it got down to where it hit the midpoint and it reverses off the midpoint of that candle. And I just have a rule: if it reverses off the midpoint and it doesn't blast through it, start looking to get out.
Yeah.
That's just one of my unwritten rules. Just because, for whatever reason, a lot of times when you get those big candles like that, it likes to hit the midpoint and then it bounces off of it. And sometimes when it bounces off of it, it just goes and returns back up to wherever the open was of that, the close of that big candle. And therefore, I would have, been basically back to where I was. So why give that all away? Other times, it does that, run up and just do a couple of little compression bars, and then continue to run down. I don't know which way it's going to go. I'd rather just go and take the money, put it in the bank, and say, hey, that was good. That was a nice trade.
Right.
Okay, we have a flip-flop box here, going back up, and we have a state change. I got in at, let's see, 40 even. We'll see what this one does.
You're going against the indicator 2 dots.
I am going against the indicator 2 dots. Yes, I am. That's why I'm a little bit cautious about it. And we'll see. And we'll just sit and sit and sit. Come on. There we go. Now I'm above the indicator 2.
You're in the launch pad.
Yep.
Okay.
Open that last big candle down. There we go. I'm up 3 pips. I've moved my stop loss to break even. Sit here and wait.
Yep. Well, you got 4 in a row. 4 bull candles in a row here. It needs to clear 46, then it looks like it's got clear sailing to about 52.
Here I'm up 4.6 right now. Hit 5. I moved my stop loss to +3.
And it must have heard you.
I'm out.
It must have heard you.
Exactly. But that's part of trading, you know. You can sit there and bemoan it and say, it could have had 5. You're right, could have had 5.
Well, it went up to that 23% retrace, so the fib traders would have, they would have paid off.
They would have punched. Yep, they would have punched.
And
the thing is,
I would have punched because there was a 1 ball.
You know, we gotta sit here and wait for the next opportunity.
Yeah, and the other thing, a nice thing on that short, if shorting from the top, what was how far did price get away from indicator 2 on the M30? About 30 some pips, you told me.
It was 34 pips, yeah.
Yeah, so that just means indicator 2 is the EMA 5, and the difference is that I use dots instead of lines, and then the colors just tell you whether or not price is above or below the line. It's just sometimes easier to see and let the computer, instead of your brain having to make that observation, it's just right there. It's like it's just colors, and so it just makes it easy. One less thing you have to do, make the computer do the work.
Exactly. I got enough things I got to take care of in my life. I can go and have something, It's sort of like, think of where we would be today in America if we didn't have washing machines.
Yeah. We were talking about big versus small yesterday, and like you were saying, how you'll switch up, you'll go for the small profits until you hit core, and then that's when you'll, look for the big ones.
Right. Yeah, that's just, that becomes an attitude shift. And I'll give the cautionary tale on this, and that is that if you're a new trader, I wouldn't recommend doing that. And the reason why is because it took me a long time to be able to do that, to make that shift. It sounds simple. Oh, you made core, therefore you just change your method. You're right. That's all you're doing. But for some reason, at least for me anyway, it was a brain shift that took a lot of time and a lot of discipline of working on to be able to do it. So, do one method, make money on it, get confident in it, then you can start looking to go and try to do something else a little bit different.
Well, you don't change your method, you just change your money management strategy, right?
Exactly. Yep. You're exactly right on that. But still, it's still a bit, for me anyway, money management is, I say this all the time, but money management is the most important thing that you do. And so if you're changing the most important thing that you do, that could be rather significant.
Yeah, exactly. Because once again, you can get over small losses, but a big loss can be a knockout.
Yeah. Well, and the other thing too is, let's say you've made core, right, and you're looking to get those big pips, and let's say, like, for instance, I was up 15 pips, and it turned around, and I messed up a little bit and didn't move my TPs or not big TPs, my stop losses to where I wanted them to be, because I didn't go and bring them to the proper places. And instead of being up 15 and you wind up walking out with +3 or something like that, that can have a significant impact on your psychology as well.
Yeah, like what happened to me today, I was up 3 and then the candle closed, and by the time I hit the exit, I think I wound up with .3. It was like they took it all back.
Yeah, and you can that can just mess with you. Remember before I said, it may go and do a breath where it goes and drops down and then comes good, and then goes back up, and then starts to challenge and go to the past the midpoint. Well, we're back at that midpoint level again, and we'll see what it does. Actually, we're above it now, but we'll see what happens. But this is a perfect example of what the market likes to do a lot of times. It'll come down, get to that midpoint, and then come back down to that midpoint and test it 2 or 3 times before it breaks it. We like to go and say that the return bars like to get filled, and it's true. More times than not, they do. It doesn't happen all the time, especially on this one. If you look at this big one, there's and again, it's news driven, and most news driven ones, this is going to be true on, but there's no imbalance on it as well. There's no wick on the previous one, so it really wants to get down to that 15 level, or more times than not, it'll get down to that 15 level, and at that point, it'll go and explode one way or the other.
Yeah. Hey, did you take any of these flip-flop box trades just now?
No.
No.
No, I didn't take any of those trades. I just didn't like them. I don't know why, but they just didn't look good to me. Although this one would have been a really nice one to have taken, but they just didn't look right. And I think part of it is that we're starting to set up a little bit of range. If it breaks the 46 level, then we'll break this little range out. But that 46 level looked like it held again.
Yeah.
And if you look to the left, that 46 area, it was a compression candle going back. What candle would it be on your chart? It would be candle, so it's going back a long time ago, candle 14. I call that a compression candle because you had a big candle down, then you had a really small candle in comparison to the other candles around it. And so what's happening there is that...
Can you put your cursor on it and tell me which minute it is? Because I don't have candle numbers up on this chart.
Oh, sorry. It would be the 24-minute mark.
Okay, yeah, that's a bull candle with a small wick on the bottom.
Exactly. So it just, market compressed there before it ran down more. So that's a candle that's going to say, hey, that's a ceiling that, and even though it continued on down, it's a ceiling of some sort. And so at least that's how I look at it. And I know that's kind of candle matching and stuff like that, but you got to look left all the time to go and look for little clues like that.
Hey, you know what? The fastest 15 minutes of trading is almost over. So, fellow traders, I hope you picked up another tip or two from Walmal and I today on trading, because when you're at your trading platform, it's not what you trade, it's how you trade it. So go out there and drain the banks. This is the Rumpled One, over and out.